The power of silence in a relationship. Love isn't a race to see who holds on tighter. It's a journey to find a worthy companion. If he's truly meant for you, your silence will make him realize your irreplaceable value. But if he's not, that very silence will save you from days of confusion and open up a new, more peaceful path. In love, there are moments when we feel like we're holding the whole sky in our hands, but then, overnight, that sky can suddenly become silent and cold. The messages stop coming, dates become few and far between, and your heart begins to tremble with the fear of losing the one you love. But did you know? Sometimes, a miraculous power is hidden within that silence. A power that not only helps you maintain your value, but also makes him realize just how much you matter. Today, we're going to delve into that journey, the journey of silence, to show that true love doesn't come from holding on, but from knowing how to cherish yourself. Join us as we begin this journey of self-discovery by subscribing to our channel and turning on notifications so you don't miss our next profound lessons. Why he pulls back. Have you ever sat quietly, staring at your phone, waiting for a message that never comes? Before, he was always the one to initiate. He'd text you first, eagerly plan dates, and say he couldn't wait to see you. But now, everything's changed. That enthusiasm has been replaced by silence, distance, and a coldness. Many women immediately wonder, did I do something wrong? Was I too eager? Or did I love him too much? But the truth is, the reason a man pulls back is rarely because of you. Most of the time, it comes from within him. What few people realize is that men often withdraw not because they've stopped liking you or because their feelings changed overnight. The deeper reason is often that they're experiencing what's called emotional overload. What is emotional overload? It's when a man begins to feel that the emotions are getting serious, becoming real. He starts to get scared that if he takes another step forward, he'll have to reveal his true self, open up, and risk being hurt. For many men, especially those who haven't healed from past wounds, this kind of intimacy isn't a source of happiness. It feels more like a risk. When he's in love, intimacy means you get to see who he truly is, and that can trigger a fear of not being good enough. That fear whispers, if she knows everything about me, will she still love me? If I can't meet her expectations, will I be abandoned? It's these anxieties that cause a man to retreat, not to punish you, but to protect himself. He pulls back due to internal pressure, not because of anything you did wrong. This situation often occurs when the woman begins to desire more clarity in the relationship. When you crave stability, consistency, and commitment, a man can feel it as a significant burden. It's not that he doesn't love you, but that he's afraid he's not capable of meeting your needs. In psychology, this is known as the fear of emotional responsibility. You can picture it this way. A man is standing at the edge of a river. He desperately wants to jump in and swim with you, but at the same time, he's terrified the current will sweep him away, or that he won't be strong enough to swim to the other side. So, instead of stepping in, he chooses to retreat, stand still, or even turn and walk away. The heartbreaking thing is that when women see this retreat, we often panic and blame ourselves. But the truth is, his distance doesn't mean you're not worthy. It simply reflects his own lack of readiness. And this is something many women need to remember. A man pulls back not because you lack appeal, but because he lacks the courage to face his own emotions. Only when you truly understand this reason can you stop blaming yourself and stay strong in a difficult situation. After all, you can't control his internal fears, but you can absolutely control how you react. And that is the key to maintaining your power and your value. Common mistakes women make when he pulls back. When a man starts to become distant, silent, or less communicative, many women's natural reaction is to worry and try every possible way to bring him back. But it's in this moment that most women unintentionally make mistakes that can further strain the relationship and even push him further away. The first and most common mistake is to chase after him. Many women send constant texts, make endless phone calls, and even actively show up in front of him to get an answer. All these actions come from a place of love and the fear of losing someone, but to a man, they feel like pressure. He doesn't feel loved, he feels pushed and cornered. And when a man feels pressured, his natural reflex is to run even further away. The second mistake is to over-explain yourself. Some women write long paragraphs detailing why they're sad, why they reacted a certain way, or trying to prove they did nothing wrong. But to a man who is retreating, these explanations don't help him understand you better. Instead, they feel like an emotional burden. He reads them but doesn't absorb them, and all he thinks is, she's demanding a response. She wants an answer from me. This emotional overload becomes even heavier. The third mistake is to change yourself to please him. For example, you give up your personal hobbies, put your own joys on hold, or even agree to things you don't want to, just to make him happy. At first, you think this will make him less distant, but in reality, it makes you lose yourself. A relationship where one person constantly has to sacrifice and hide their true self just to keep the other person around can never last. The fourth mistake is to accept the emotional crumbs. Many women, out of fear of loss, cling to whatever small signs of affection he gives, even if it's just a quick, one-word text or a little bit of his time. You try to console yourself that something is better than nothing, but remember, if you only accept crumbs, you'll eventually believe that's all you deserve. The truth is, your real value doesn't lie in scraps of attention, but in the complete and genuine presence of a worthy man. Another common mistake is to make him the center of your emotional world. When he texts you, your day is made. When he's silent, you lose sleep, feel anxious, and worrying. Your entire life revolves around how he treats you. This makes you forget a crucial truth. You are the center of your own life, no one else. When you hand over control of your emotions to someone else, you become vulnerable and lose your own power. And one more important mistake is overthinking and dramatizing the situation. When he pulls back, your mind starts creating a series of worst-case scenarios. He's definitely not in love with me anymore. He must have someone else. It's all over. These thoughts might not be true, but they make you panic and act impulsively. And that impulsiveness is what truly makes the situation worse. The important thing to remember is that all these mistakes stem from love and the fear of loss. But sadly, to a man, they only add pressure, causing him to close off and pull away even more, instead of helping the relationship become clearer. These mistakes make you a weak link in the dynamic, blurring your inherent value. The power of silence. So, what should you do to change things? The answer lies in well-timed silence and unwavering self-worth. In love, many people think that being silent is a sign of weakness, giving up, or losing. But the truth is the exact opposite. When you know how to use silence at the right time, it becomes an invisible force, more powerful than any words or actions. When a man pulls back, a woman's first instinct is often to fill that void with messages, calls, or long explanations. But it's silence that has the power to create a much deeper psychological effect. In psychology, this is called the scarcity principle, or reverse psychology. When something that has always been present suddenly disappears, people feel a sense of loss and want it back. Imagine this. When you're always the one to initiate, always there, always texting, always caring, he gets used to your presence. He doesn't have time to feel a sense of loss because he's never experienced your absence. But when you choose to be silent, when you don't chase, beg, or pressure him, that's when he starts to feel a void. That void isn't just in his phone with fewer messages, it's in his mind and his heart. Silence helps you pause at the right moment. It says for you, I don't need to compete for attention. I don't need to prove my worth by holding on. And when you stop chasing, the balance of power in the relationship shifts. You are no longer the one passively waiting. You become the one who knows how to choose and how to prioritize your own value. Silence is also a mirror for him to reflect on himself. When you're no longer the one initiating texts or creating topics for a conversation, he'll have to ask himself, why is she quiet? Was I thoughtless? Am I losing someone? Truly important. It's these questions that awaken his awareness, something your explanations or anger could never achieve. What's valuable about this is that silence isn't a game to manipulate emotions. It's not a trick to make a man panic. Silence is how you protect your energy and your inner peace. Instead of wasting energy chasing after him, you turn back to taking care of yourself, reading a book, meeting up with friends, or pursuing a hobby. You radiate the energy of a confident, non-dependent woman. And that energy is precisely what makes a man pay attention and feel that you have a special allure. Another interesting thing is that when you are silent, you create an emotional contrast. He'll compare two states, one when you are by his side, full of care and warmth, and the other when you retreat, leaving behind an empty, cold feeling. That contrast makes him realize how precious the time he had with your attention was. Many men only truly wake up when they lose that sense of familiarity, and you should remember that your silence is not a punishment, but a pause. It gives him an opportunity to reflect and to feel. If he truly has feelings for you, he will proactively come back. Conversely, if he stays silent forever and doesn't cherish you, that silence is the clearest answer you could get. That's the power of silence. It's not loud or dramatic, but it makes the other person think, question themselves, and sometimes find their way back. Share this journey of discovering inner strength with others by liking and sharing our channel's content to spread the value of self-confidence and peace in love, returning to yourself. When a man pulls back, when he chooses silence instead of sharing with you, there's a truth that many women often forget. That is the exact moment you need to return to yourself. We often spend so much energy observing him, waiting for his messages, analyzing his every word, that we forget that life has countless things to cherish outside of a relationship. When you put him at the center of your emotional world, you inadvertently give him the power to determine your own happiness or sadness, and this makes you feel weaker and more vulnerable than ever. Returning to yourself means you stop waiting, stop asking, "What is he thinking?" and start asking more important questions. What do I need? What have I neglected in my life? What did I once love that I gave up just to pursue this relationship? Try to remember who you were before you met him. You were a woman who found happiness in small things, a morning coffee with a friend, a good book you hadn't finished, a passion you were devoted to. Perhaps, while you were busy chasing love, you forgot those beautiful parts of yourself. Now is the time to find them again. You can start with simple things. Meet up with friends who make you laugh genuinely, go back to a long-forgotten hobby, or take better care of yourself with a walk or a short trip, or simply sit quietly and write in a journal to listen to your own heart. When you do that, you're not just filling the void he left, you're affirming to yourself that your happiness doesn't depend on anyone else. You are the biggest source of energy to nourish yourself. Most importantly, returning to yourself is a way of rewriting your own story of self-worth. If before you believed that his silence meant you weren't good enough, now you'll remind yourself, "I'm not difficult to love. I don't need to beg to be chosen. I deserve a complete love, not just crumbs." This isn't arrogance, it's an awakening. You realize that true love doesn't demand that you lose yourself. On the contrary, it helps you be more fully yourself and be happier. And if a man makes you lose who you are, then that's not love, it's dependency. The amazing thing is that when you return to caring for yourself, your energy changes. You become more peaceful, more confident, and that very confidence creates a powerful attraction. A woman who knows how to love herself radiates a natural magnetism that makes others want to be near her. And men are no exception. When he sees you still glowing, still living your life to the fullest without him, he will start to realize that you have a special value, a value that cannot be ignored. But even if he doesn't come back, you are still the winner. Because you have found yourself again, found your joy, and your inner strength. And that is the most important thing. You no longer live in fear of being abandoned, but in freedom and self-reliance. Returning to yourself is a journey. It requires you to dare to let go, to be still, and to face yourself. But when you do, you will find your heart becoming full, and life will still be filled with joy, even without him. Lessons from everyday stories. When we talk about the power of stopping the chase and returning to yourself, many people might think, it sounds great, but does it really work in real life? The answer lies in the everyday experiences many women have already gone through. Imagine a woman who, after a few months of dating, had everything going well. He was attentive, he texted constantly, and he even talked about future plans. But then, all of a sudden, he became distant. The messages thinned out, dates were no longer a regular thing, and the excitement in his eyes vanished. In that situation, the typical response is for the woman to panic and try everything to hold onto the connection. But there's another choice, and this is what makes a difference: silence and focusing on herself. She doesn't rush to text him, nor does she write long paragraphs demanding answers. Instead, she returns to her own rhythm of life, work, friends, family, and personal hobbies. During that silence, the man slowly begins to feel her absence. He realizes that her presence is no longer a given, and it's then that he starts thinking about her value in his life. In another situation, some people have been in a relationship for many years, but things have grown stale. The man no longer shows the same level of interest, his words are cold, and his actions are half-hearted. The woman may have cried, complained, and even pleaded to keep the love alive, but the result was only more exhaustion for both of them. One day, she chose to stop, not with a loud breakup, but with a silent retreat. She no longer blamed or got angry, nor did she try to prove she was right. She simply changed quietly, dedicating time to herself, refreshing her life, and nurturing her soul. Gradually, her calm demeanor made the man start to notice the difference. He was no longer the center of her world, and from a place of taking her for granted, he began to fear losing a woman full of life and value. In some cases, the silence doesn't make the man return, but it brings another gift: clarity. When a woman stops clinging, she realizes that the man was never truly ready for a serious relationship. Instead of continuing to hope for something uncertain, she chooses to move on, and in doing so, finds true peace in her heart. The common thread in all these scenarios is that when women stop chasing, they reclaim their freedom and inner strength. The silence isn't a way to punish the man, but to give herself a chance to live true to her value. The amazing thing is that energy is contagious. A woman who knows how to love herself radiates a peaceful confidence that makes others take notice. If the man truly values you, he'll come back and change. If not, the silence will be a door that opens up a new future for you, where a more deserving person may appear. When you choose silence and return to caring for yourself, you are always the winner. Regardless of whether he comes back or not, you will have gained the most precious things: maturity, self-reliance, and love for yourself. Silence, a weapon and a gift. There's a truth that few people talk about. In love, it's not sweet words or intense arguments that decide everything. Sometimes, it's silence that holds the greatest power. Silence isn't about avoidance or indifference. It's a conscious choice, a quiet affirmation that says, I am valuable enough not to have to chase anyone. I deserve a clear, sincere love, and I won't beg for it. The magic of silence lies in its ability to create space for the truth to reveal itself. When you are silent, you stop complicating the situation with emotional haste and stop forcing him into a defensive position. You give him the chance to think for himself, to feel your absence, and to face his own fears. And if his feelings for you are real, that silence will make him realize your value. But if, after all that, he still doesn't return, silence brings another gift: clarity. You no longer have to live in confusion or torment yourself by wondering what you did wrong. That void helps you see clearly that sometimes a person's departure isn't a loss, but a way for the universe to clear a path for you, to embark on a new journey. Silence is also a way for you to return to being the master of your own life. When you're no longer burdened by waiting for texts or feeling let down by missed calls, you have the opportunity to listen to your own heart. You start to notice the things you'd forgotten: the joy of being with family, the peace of a quiet morning alone, the small happiness from pursuing your own passions. You begin to understand that the most beautiful love isn't when you lose yourself to keep someone else, but when you can be your full self and be loved for it. Silence is also a remedy for your self-respect. It reminds you that you don't need to shout to prove your worth, and don't need to cling to scraps of attention. You deserve a great love, a love that makes you feel safe and fulfilled, not one that makes you anxious every hour. Remember, the right man won't be confused or bothered by your silence. On the contrary, he will recognize the strength that radiates from you. He will know that you are a woman who can walk away at any time if you are not cherished. And that is what makes you special. And finally, silence is a gift you give to yourself, a gift of freedom, of peace, of living true to your authentic value. It's not loud or dramatic, but it is enduring and profound. When you learn to be silent at the right time, you'll realize that you no longer fear losing anyone, because you have found the most trustworthy companion, yourself. So, if you're in a phase of uncertainty, if you see your man pulling away, don't panic and don't rush to chase after him. Stay calm, choose silence, and return to taking care of yourself. Because that silence can be a powerful weapon that makes him realize who you are. And it can also be a precious gift that helps you see the truth of this relationship. No matter the outcome, you are the winner, because you have chosen yourself, chosen self-respect, and chosen a truly deserving love. Always remember, you don't need to beg for love. You just need to choose yourself, love yourself, and true love will find its way to you. If today's insights touched your heart, don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments, because your story could become an inspiration to someone else. And make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next profound relationship lessons. We'll continue this journey together to find the strength and happiness you truly deserve. See you in the next video.